In a dangerous turn of events, Donald Trump has reportedly asked Volodymyr Zelenskyy whether he would strike deep inside Moscow if the US provided him with long range deadly weapons. This was first reported by the Financial Times. Later, Kyiv Post also reported that Zelenskyy replied that he could hit Moscow if Trump gave him the weapons he required. This was after Trump asked him why he hadn't struck Moscow yet, according to the Washington Post. Trump also reportedly told Zelensky that Ukraine needed to put more pressure on Putin, not just in Moscow, but in St. Petersburg as well. This massive revelation came amidst a series of utterances by Trump expressing his disgust for Vladimir Putin. Trump first threatened Russia with a 100% tariff if Putin didn't reach a ceasefire deal with Ukraine in the next 50 days. This was on Monday, which is yesterday.
One of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia. But we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. But today we're going to talk about something else. And as you know, we've spent $350 billion approximately on this war with Russia and Ukraine. And would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple.
How did Russia react? It fired more drones into Ukraine. That explains just how seriously Moscow takes Trump.
Russia is apparently shrugging off President Trump's tariff threats and plan to send more weapons to Ukraine. Shortly after Trump announced he will supply Ukraine with more Patriot missiles, Ukraine says Russia attacked several Ukrainian regions with hundreds of drones. Now Russia says it's not concerned with President Trump's ultimatum that they end the war in 50 days or face 100% secondary tariffs. ABC's Patrick Reevell has more. So, Patrick, how significant is Russia's response? Not only what they're saying, but this new round of drone attacks.
Yeah, Diane, as you say, Russia once again overnight sent hundreds of drones into Ukraine, as it does most nights. And I think that reflects their broader response, which has been essentially to try and publicly shrug off President Trump's change in approach, his threat of more tariffs, intense tariffs in 50 days if Russia doesn't agree to end the war.
And this guy had claimed to end the war between Russia and Ukraine even before being sworn in as the US president for the second time. Russia has also warned that Donald Trump's pledge to boost military aid to Ukraine and sanction Russia's allies could escalate the conflict. Now, should this conflict spread beyond Ukraine, this could easily spiral into a nuclear war, as repeatedly warned by Putin. And experts say that Trump would be extremely foolish to underestimate Putin's resolve to resort to nuclear warfare if he knows he's being pushed against the wall. It was in 2024 when Vladimir Putin updated his nuclear doctrine by lowering the threshold to attack an enemy country. Putin had approved the change in Russia's nuclear doctrine days after it became obvious that the then US President Joe Biden had allowed Ukraine to use US made weapons to strike deep inside Russia. This was when there were reports of Ukraine using US made long range ATACMS missiles to strike deep inside Russia. Russia's earlier nuclear doctrine has said that it would only use its nuclear weapons if it was attacked by nuclear arsenal. But under the new doctrine, Russia would use nuclear bombs against enemy countries in the event that it even faces conventional military attacks that threaten Russia's sovereignty or territorial integrity, that involve non-nuclear states supported by nuclear powers. According to the Nobel Prize winning organization, the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, or ICAN, Russia had the largest stockpile of nuclear bombs, followed by the US, China, France, the United Kingdom, Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea. The US also has its nuclear weapons hosted in 5 other countries, namely Turkey, Italy, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. According to the Federation of Atomic Scientists 2025 status of the world's nuclear forces, North Korea has enough fissile material to develop between 40 to 50 individual weapons, while Israel has material for up to 200, with an estimated 90 existing atom bombs. On Putin's intention to go nuclear against his enemies, including the US, at least 2 American researchers said last September that they had identified the probable deployment site in Russia for the 9M730 Burevestnik, a new nuclear-powered, nuclear-armed cruise missile touted by President Vladimir Putin as invincible. The cost of any military engagement with Russia would be unimaginable for the US. I hope Trump realizes that Russia is no Iran. He couldn't withstand a single round of Iranian missile attacks on a US military base in Qatar and had to quickly seek a ceasefire. Iran wasn't even posing direct threats to the population in the US. In contrast, almost the entire US is within the Russian target. God forbid Trump's foolhardiness leads to a full-scale conflict with the two old rivals. Experts would tell you that a single nuclear warhead could kill hundreds of thousands of people, with lasting and devastating humanitarian and environmental consequences. Detonating just one nuclear weapon alone over New York would cause an estimated 583,160 fatalities. Trump's false bravado is also alienating his own supporters from him, just like his support for a genocidal maniac and a dreaded terrorist called Benjamin Netanyahu became hugely unpopular amongst his MAGA support base. Reacting to Trump's reported military support for Ukraine against Russia, Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene wrote on Twitter, and I quote, "MAGA did not vote for more weapons to Ukraine. MAGA voted for no more US involvement in foreign wars." End quote. As I speak, it seems Trump appears to have realized the impact of media reporting on his private conversation with Zelensky. He is now publicly distancing from his widely reported statements as he says that Ukraine must not attack Moscow.
Russia 50 days. What happens now? Do you talk to Vladimir Putin?
Well, at the end of 50 days, if we don't have a deal, it's going to be too bad.
But what happens?
Should Zelensky get more aggressive?
Yeah, the tariffs are going to go on and other sanctions go on.
Should Zelensky target Moscow? Should Zelensky target Moscow, sir? Should Zelensky target Moscow or deeper into Russia?
No, he shouldn't target Moscow.
Is that why you gave him more weapons, though?
Trump has made himself a laughing stock in such a short span of time. This is what happens when you overpromise and underdeliver. Trump effectively represents a delusional politician who continues to live in the past and fails to come to terms with the changing realities around him. The question is, what would it take for him to come out of his delusion? That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.